Well, welcome to Cookster's Garage. This is my 66 F100 chassis that I've got painted finally. I've been working on this truck for almost 10 years off and on. The last couple of years I've worked on it a fair amount, trying to get it completed. Maybe this year, which is 2022. I doubt it, but you know, I'm trying. I'm now starting to put the chassis together, finally. The front end, starting with the axles, of course, all the I-beams. But just a quick overview. Obviously the chassis, the frame. It's got a stock front suspension. I lowered it 2 inches with springs. The rear has a 4-link. I took the leaf springs out. There's one of the bars, brackets for the 4-link. Here I cut the cross member out and made a removable section. I'm putting an AOD and a small block, a 351 Windsor, stroked out to 408. I tried to pull the AOD with the transmission and the engine and the transmission in, and I couldn't do it. It just, the belt housing was too big. So I made this removable cross member. If I ever have to pull the transmission out, I can do it with the cab on and the engine in, which is nice. I guess the biggest other frame mod is I built a rear cross member with a trailer hitch. I'll probably never use it, but it's here. If I ever want to put a receiver, you know, and pull something, it's not going to pull a Bobcat, but it pull a small trailer. I'm also using a rear gas tank, which obviously you can't see right now because it's not there. I think that's about it for the frame. Just miscellaneous pieces, of course. Painted bolts. My gas tank's under here, already been painted. Waiting to get put in. Gas tank. It's a Mustang gas tank. A lot of people are using that tank for their rear gas tank swaps. As far as what we'll be doing here, I'm just going to try to document, you know, putting this truck together. Oh, I missed the cab. My cab, all the body work on the cab is done. So you can't tell it from here because it's sitting back in the corner, you know, all lonely. The cab's body work, the front end's body work. All the body work is done except for blocking, I believe, the roof and the back. So it's close to being ready to paint. On this cab, I've done a lot of custom work. To put bucket seats in. It's going to be a center console. I made another console that you can't really see from here. I'll go over all the cab stuff later on when we get back to working with that. I made door panels, fiberglass and ABS door panels. Lots of custom stuff I can describe much better, you know, down the road when we get there. There'll be a new wiring harness, of course. That's a painless harness. There's the hood, inner fenders. The firewall you really can't see. I've filled a lot of the holes in the firewall. Anyway, we'll have to go over the cab one day down the road. The poor engine's sitting over here tipped over. I gotta fix that. That's the 408, 351 Windsor stroked. As far as other things, I do have other projects around here to work on. You really can't see it at night. I'll have to get video of it later. Out here is my dad's 69 Chevrolet. It's not really a restoration job, but it's a lot of work. My dad passed in 2014. My mom and dad both. And this was his truck. I grew up with this truck, driving it, learned to drive in this truck, driven and ridden many miles. So last year I did a lot of rust repair. So eventually I'll be getting back to working on that again. This that you barely can see is my 54 Chevrolet. 5 window. I've owned this truck since 1983, believe it or not. And I did used to drive it, drove it a lot. In about 88 or 89, I took the front end apart and clipped it. Really can't see it, but there's one of the rails. So it's got a Monte Carlo front clip on it now, and that's really as far as I got. And it's been sitting in various places ever since. It's a good straight truck. It's solid, very little rust. That's a 5 window cab that you can't see from here. So I do want to get this thing back together and run it one day. This is my favorite pet project out of all of them. Although I love my Ford, but this one, I've got high hopes for this truck. I can just ever get it finished again.
So I hope what I'm doing is of interest to you, and maybe you can learn a thing or two. I've been working on cars now over 40 years, body work and paint work and a little bit of this and that. So, maybe I can teach you a trick or two that you haven't seen yet. So anyway, thanks for stopping by, and I hope to catch you on the next one.